welcome back to my channel. I'm Neva. This is Reading with Neva, and today we are doing another installment of reading my friend's favorite books project. So for the month of October, the person that was picked for this journey is my wonderful friend Leandra over from Leandra the TBR Zero. She'll be linked down below, and she has given me I think 5 books, but I added a bonus book. I'm not going to tell you what the books are until I'm reading them. That's just how I choose to do this in case I change orders in which I'm going to read things. 2, 4, 5. So she gave me 5 books, and then I added a bonus one, which was one that she had given me originally, but she had removed when I asked her if she wanted to give me new books. So for anyone who doesn't know what this is or hasn't watched the announcements video, essentially I've asked a bunch of my booktube and Instagram friends to give me 4 to 6 of their absolute favorite books that they want me to read. They can be any genre, any book, and they are books that they loved. This is not based off of what they think I will enjoy. It is based off of what they have enjoyed, and honestly, it's been relatively successful. So I have done 2, I believe. I did another one, and it never came to fruition, so I'm probably going to redo that one. If I'm being honest, I just need to get a hold of the person who I did this for, and so I'll be redoing one of them. But I have done Michelle from Michelle's Library. I believe she is only on Instagram now and is no longer active on YouTube, but I think that her channel may still be up. And I've also done my friend Kelsey, who you would have already seen the vlog for that by now, probably like a month ago by now, from Reads with Kelsey. She has both Instagram and YouTube. However, she is much more a bookstagrammer than she is a YouTuber, but she is getting into doing sprints for sure, and she has some vlogs on her channel, so go support them as well. So we've been relatively successful with both of the people that I have done this project for, but this month it is for Leandra. So Leandra has given me 5 of her favorite books, and like I said, I added a bonus one that I've been wanting to read anyway, but that she removed, so hopefully she doesn't mind too much. I don't think she will. So some of these I've been able to find through my library as audiobooks, and a few of them I have found through Kindle Unlimited. So I think I have 1 that's Kindle Unlimited, 1 that's an ebook from my library, and then 3 of them that she gave me are from the library as audiobooks, and then the bonus book that I added is on Kindle Unlimited, and I can listen to the audiobook on Audible for free with my premium membership. So either way, we're going to be reading these. It's going to be great, and I'm super excited to start. So I will let you know what the first book is because I've been talking for so long. I did go ahead and pick my first book because I was like, we might as well start this. So you're going to see this specific book in a couple of vlogs, but that's fine. All of my real life thoughts will be in this vlog. The other vlogs, it'll just be a mention. So the first book is Soulless, and I remember when Miss Leandra talked about this in a vlog, and it sounded really intriguing, so I added it to my TBR. And then when I asked her if she wanted to switch out any books, this is one of the books she gave me. It says a novel of vampires, werewolves, and parasols. I don't really know what this book is about, but I also should have said that each of these installments gets its own challenge. So there is a special challenge that goes along with each of these. I use a spinner wheel for this as well. If you watch my monthly TBR, you will see who got picked for the month and also the challenge, but I'll go ahead and tell you what the challenge is here. So the challenge is 100 pages per day. So every time that I pick up one of Leandra's books, I need to be diligently reading 100 pages of it before I put it down for the day. So I will have the full day of the day that I pick up each of her books to read 100 pages, and that is the challenge, is to read 100 pages per day of each of the books that she's given me as I read them, which is fine. 100 pages a day is actually relatively hard for me, which is why this is a challenge. I am gonna do it, but 100 pages if I don't have the audiobook is really hard for me. So, but I want to get back into reading 100 pages a day, because when I first started reading again in 2020, I was reading about 100 pages a day. That was my average, and that was my goal for the day. It was like I felt accomplished when I read 100 pages a day, and I think that if it was to become a habit, I could do it again. So I'm going to start with Soulless. I don't really know anything about these. I go into a lot of books very blind. The only time that I found that to be challenging was during Kelsey's vlog, because the challenge was to go in blind, so all I wanted to do was read the synopses. But if I'm just reading to read, I do tend to go in blind. I'm really sorry if this wind is really loud to y'all, but that's what we're going to start with, is Soulless by Gail Carriger. And this is the first book in a series, so if I love this book, then this will go on my series wheel. So I'm gonna go start this, since I am watching some sprints right now. I'm not on sprints, but I'm watching them. And I will come back when I've hit my 100 pages for the day. Hello friends from my bathroom. So I'm coming in here really quick because I actually am going to change something about this vlog. So I said in my last clip, my little intro clip to what we were going to read for this vlog, the first book, that the challenge we got for Leandra was 100 pages per day. This is what we got. However, I've decided to go in and change my own rules. And I've changed the 100 pages per day challenge to be the spinner wheel picks my page number challenge instead. So I went ahead and I spun the wheel for today. I wanted to see just what the wheel would give me, because I've read, I think 13 pages or something, 20 pages, and the spinner wheel gave me 40. So before I go to bed tonight, I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to read 40 pages of Soulless, and then when I get up in the morning, I will go ahead and spin again for y'all. But I just wanted you to know that I'm changing the challenge, and I have changed it on the challenge wheel as well, so there will no longer be a 100 pages per day challenge. That's just a little too hard for me to do. But my spinner wheel does go up in increments of 10, so 10, 20, 30, and so on, up to 100. So there is a possibility that some days I will be getting 100 pages that I have to read, but to make myself read 100 pages of one book every single day, I feel like is setting me up for failure. So I will be finishing the 40 pages today, and then I will be back in the morning to check in and spin for the next number. Hopefully Leandra understands and won't be upset, but I personally don't think that Leandra will care how I choose to do this challenge, but I want to come in and be transparent with y'all so that you know what's happening. So I will see everyone in the morning. Hello friends, good morning. So let's chat. I'm about to spin to see how many pages of Soulless I need to read this morning. So I decided that instead of doing the 100 pages per day challenge, there's a clip right before this. I've changed it so that it is a spinner wheel picks my pages read for the day. That way I'm not always doing 100 pages. So I did read my 40 pages for yesterday. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna spin and see how many pages we're getting today. And this will be only for Soulless for this vlog. So let's go ahead and spin. Okay, so we're gonna have to read 70 pages today, which is pretty doable. So I'm gonna hop off here, we're gonna go read, and then I will be back. I don't really have a lot to talk about in this book so far, so maybe after this next 70 pages, I'll have a bit more to talk about. Hello from my kitchen. Hello friends. All right, so I'm here to update this vlog because we're gonna have a little chat. So I've decided, at least for this first book, I will not be sticking to the challenge, and this is why. So for Soulless, the chapters are super long, so that means either I'm reading more pages than I'm supposed to a day to finish the chapter, or I have to stop in the middle of a chapter every day, and I don't want to do that. So for Soulless, I'm just kind of going to listen to it. I have the audiobook now, so I'm going to kind of just read it and do some little b-roll things, being Leandra instead. And then for the next book, I will do a page count type thing in that instead. I just feel like that's the best course of action here, to be honest. So that is what we're going to do. So I am reading Soulless. I am on chapter 2. It says I have about 4 hours of this left. It's not a super long audiobook. It's, I don't know, like 10-ish hours at normal speed, like at one-time speed, and I'm listening to it a bit faster than that. So I'm really enjoying this so far, but each chapter is like an hour long. So there's that. So I'm not going to be doing the pages, but we are going to do some b-roll of me being like Leandra. So I have a coffee currently. I am coloring on my iPad, so I'll probably do some b-roll of that. I'm about to start making dinner, so I'm gonna make dinner, and while dinner is cooking, I will be doing some b-roll of some different things that I think Leandra would do. So there will be diamond painting for this vlog. There will be reading outside, going on walks, going to the library, because I will go work at the library during this vlog. I'm trying to think what else we're gonna do. Color on my iPad. I might download like a puzzle iPad game, because Leandra does puzzles. Yeah, we're gonna do all of those things. Watch some Bluey, do all of the fun stuff that Leandra would do. So I wanted to pop in and let y'all know that. So I am almost done with chapter 2 and on to chapter 3. I've got about 20 minutes left of chapter 2. So when I've made it a bit further into this book, I don't have a lot to say about this book other than I'm having a fun time. But when I have more to say about it, I will be back to check in. Hello friends. Alright, so I'm here to update on Soulless. So, hello friends, besties, homies, book nerds. Hello. So I'm here to update this vlog. I am still reading Soulless. It's been a few days since I updated. It's fine. We're not going to talk about it. But I decided to come outside. I am watching Britney's sprints. I'm watching them. I'm not on them. But I'm just like in the comments, just like hanging out. And I have my headphones out here because we listen. How are you gonna listen to an audiobook without headphones, right? And then I have my Bluey like throw blanket. This is so cute for anyone who wants one. I got it at Walmart, and I think it costs like $12 or $15, but I got it like in the my Walmart's like dorm bedding section is in the same section as their kids bedding, and so we got this blanket, and we also got a Barbie one. And they're just these throws, and originally we got them to take with us when we went to the movie theater, because I like taking the blanket to the movie theater. And so me and Ari each got one, but she decided she wanted the Barbie one, so I have the Bluey one, which I feel like works for our month of Leandra, because Leandra, like the rest of us weird millennials, adults, she watches Bluey for comfort. So I am not watching Bluey today. I really need to finish Soulless, but I am finishing Soulless today. I have about 3.5 hours left of this book, so I'm really hoping to get it done today. If I don't get it done today, I'll get it done by like tomorrow morning, and then we will spin for the next book. That's how I'm going to do this. I'm not going to, yeah. I'm not going to pick myself. I think we're going to spin for the next book, and then we'll go back to the like spinning for pages a day challenge. But this one, the chapters were just so long that I was like, I have to get the audio. So that's why we're not doing the pages a day challenge for Soulless, but we will be doing the pages a day challenge for all the other books. So I'm gonna go color on my iPad and read some more. There's like people walking around everywhere, I would say. But I'm gonna go work on this like witchy, like I'm doing this like cute like witchy picture on my iPad. So I'm gonna work on that and listen to more of Soulless. And yeah, I'll be back to check in either when something happens or like I don't know how to really talk about this book other than to tell you to go read it. So there's that. So I'm gonna go work on this and I'll be back either when I have something to tell you about this book or when I've finished it, whichever comes first. So, okay. Alright, goodbye. Hello friends. I have finished Soulless, so I can come update this vlog. I just finished it like 15-ish minutes ago. Drinking a decaf coffee because I wanted coffee. And Leandra drinks decaf coffee. So, and also I won't be up all night if I drink decaf. So good. Okay. So I'm giving Soulless 5 stars. It did take me like a week and a half to read this book, but it was not a book problem. It was a me and my chronic pain problem. So I'm giving this book 5 stars. This book follows a woman who I think it's called preternatural, but basically she can make it so that supernaturals, so werewolves, vampires, whatever, she makes it so that they become human if she's touching them. So this was like I would say like a fantasy romance. There is a pretty heavy romance plot that I really enjoyed. And there's like a lot of fantasy aspects in it with like the werewolves and the witches and everything like that. But this was just like really fun. It was pretty cozy. I will say that I would say that this was like a cozy fantasy romance because it was, to me, it was really cozy. I don't know if that's how, I don't remember if that's how Leandra felt about it when she read it, but I felt like it was pretty cozy. So I'm not surprised that Leandra loves this book. Like I said, I'm giving it 5 stars and I'm going to continue this series. It wasn't quite a 6-star book for me because I did have a few things that were kind of like not my favorite. There's like some like attempted SA in this and stuff like that. But other than that, like I didn't really have like huge issues with the book. It just wasn't necessarily a 6-star. So we have finished that. Now, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to spin for the next book for this vlog. I have decided, because I don't have any of the books that Leandra gave me physically, so doing the like pages challenge is kind of difficult because I'm either listening to these on audiobook or I've gotten them from the library on my Kindle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change which thing we're going to do. And I'm going to do it with a spinner wheel instead. I just feel better about doing it that way. Hello friends, I'm here to update this vlog. I do not remember what I said in my last clip, but I finished Soulless. I gave it 5 stars. So I have started Starter Villain. I have given up on the pages challenge just because I don't own any of these books physically. So what we're going to do, and thankfully this is a Leandra vlog, so she'll understand and she won't be like, ew, I can't believe you did this. I'm gonna go ahead and spin the spinner wheel and see what we get for this. So I'm gonna go ahead and spin this and see if we get a different challenge. Hopefully you can see that. It's very blurry. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's so blurry. Okay, so this is saying to do a TBR game. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to use my own TBR game. So after I finish Starter Villain, I will spin for my next book. So that's what we're reading, Starter Melon. I'm 3 chapters in. It's going well. And I will be back to update you when I have one. Hello friends. I am 5 chapters into Starter Villain. Let's talk about it. So this is a super funny book. I feel like this is a book that is written like nonfiction, but it is fiction. Like when I started reading it, I was like, is this fiction? Because the way it reads, it's in first person and it reads like nonfiction. It reads like someone is writing down their memoir or their thoughts. And I absolutely love this book. It's so funny to me. Like the banter is funny. And at first I was like, maybe I have like dark humor. But Leandra gave me this book. So I think that means Leandra also has dark humor, because let me just read. I just want to read this part. I did highlight it because I specifically wanted to read this part, y'all. But they are, so his uncle passes away in this book, which is where our story really begins. His parents have passed away, so his mom I think years prior and his dad recently, and then he finds out that his uncle Jake, who is his mom's only brother, also passed away. And he gets visited by someone who knew and I think worked with his uncle Jake, and she basically says if you go to his funeral, then he will pay for this entire house and you'll be able to keep your house and everything like that. So they do that, and he goes to his funeral, and when he gets there, there are flower arrangements, as is usual for a funeral. But these flower arrangements have sentiments written on them that you wouldn't write on someone's thing. So like there's one that says like see you in hell, there's one that says not soon enough, there's another one that says, I think it says like suck it motherfucker or something like that. So he was like, wow, like what did he do, like whatever like that. Well, there is also one that is, it says like dead, ha, okay, like somebody didn't believe that he was dead. So he's talking to the funeral director, and I highlight this part, and he says, the funeral director basically says, it seems like, because he's like, oh, this one's not so bad, and the funeral director is like, no, but it also seems that this person may not believe that your uncle has passed on. And this is the part that I highlighted. He said, the narrator says, has he passed? Or has he passed on? Yes. He was dead when he arrived here, Chesterfield said. That's the funeral director. Do you expect that condition to change? It would be unusual if it did. So it's just like banter like that. It's just so funny to me. So I am on chapter 5 of this book. I'm about 14% in. And according to my Kindle, I have about 5 hours left of this book. So I will be finishing it in the next couple of days. But I'm so in love with this book. I just think that it's so funny. And like I said, the banter in it is hilarious. I think that the woman that comes to like visit him after his uncle Jake dies may be neurodivergent, and so her banter is really funny with him, and they even like talk through like text messages. So I'm really enjoying this book. But when I have a little bit more to talk about with this book, I'll come back. But I just wanted to come in and say that because I just think this book is so funny. And it's like, this book does have longer chapters, but the chapters go so quickly because I'm having such like a great time. So it looks like this could be another big hit from Leandra, which is awesome. So yeah, I will be back tomorrow or the next day, something, but I'll be back soon to update you on Starter Villain. But I'm having the best time. Hello friends. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and spin for our next Leandra book. I did finish Starter Villain a few days ago, but I have had a lot of chronic pain happening. So let's talk about Starter Villain really quick. So I gave this book 5 stars. I felt like it did drag a little bit in the middle, which is why I didn't get 6. So I felt like it did drag a little bit in the middle. But for the most part, I really enjoyed this book. It was humorous. It was like really funny. The humor in it is pretty like dry, but like the banter was bantering the entire time. So I really, really enjoyed this book. I at first was a little bit surprised that this would be a book that Leandra would give me just because of the way that the humor is written. But the more I get to know Leandra, the more like fitting this book is. So it is a sci-fi book and it is published under Tor. There's like dolphins and like smart dolphins and smart cats, and there's a lot of like political commentary in this book. So I just feel like all around it was really a good read. So I'm giving that one 5 stars, and we're gonna go ahead and spin for our next book. At this point, I think the only books that I have left are audios, except for the book, the extra book that I added, but technically I can get that as an audio as well. So let's spin. Okay, so our next book is going to be Small Favors. This one I know that I have as an audio from Libby. Hopefully it's still there because who knows. But I did borrow this one from Libby. So let me see if I still have it. Yep, right here. So I have Small Favors. It's by Aaron A. Craig. And we're going to read the synopsis. And it says, Ellery Downing is waiting for something to happen. Life in isolated Amity Falls, surrounded by an impenetrable forest, has a predictable sameness. Her days are filled with tending to her family's beehives, chasing after her sisters, and dreaming of bigger things, while her twin Samuel is free to roam as he wishes. Early town settlers fought off monstrous creatures in the woods, and whispers that the creatures still exist to keep the Downings and their neighbors from venturing too far. When some townsfolk go missing on a trip to fetch supplies, a heavy unease settles over the falls. Strange activities begin to plague the town, and as the seasons change, it's clear that something is terribly wrong. The creatures are real, and they're offering to fulfill the residents' deepest desires, however grand, for just a small favor. These seemingly trifling demands, however, hide sinister intentions. Soon, Ellery finds herself in a race against time to stop Amity Falls, her family, and the boy she loves from going up in flames. So, I'm gonna go start this. I know nothing other than what I just read about this book, so I'm gonna go start Small Favors, and I will be back probably when I hit 50%. Unless something crazy happens in this book, but I probably will try to read to about 50% before I come and check it. Hello friends, I am here at 50% of Small Favors. It has been, I don't know how long it's been since I've checked in with this vlog. It's like over a week, I think, but I am 50% through Small Favors, so I can talk a little bit about what this book is about and my thoughts about it. So far, I am enjoying this book. It's really good. It does read like a fantasy. I don't know that I would say a cozy fantasy because it's not really cozy, but it is about a small town who is experiencing these monsters that are in the woods, and basically they've always believed that this was a myth. However, the monsters have been seen at this point, and they've come out, and very weird things are happening in this town. So currently our main female character, she is at home with her 3 siblings. So she has a twin brother, and then she has 2 younger sisters, and their mom and dad have left the town because there was a fire on their farm, and their mother was gravely injured, and so they've gone to a larger city in order to get her help. So that is where we are. I have thoughts, but I don't know how to talk about them without kind of spoiling things. At this point, they have sent men out on a supply run, which they have, unfortunately, with the supply run, it's made it so that these men have died. So everyone has died on the supply run except for the main character's twin brother, Sam. Yeah, so I'm at 50%. So I'm going to try to finish this book. I have, I think, 3.5 hours left, and then I will come back and give my final thoughts. I'm sitting at like a 4-star. Like, it's fine. It's just not, I don't know. There's like a lot of pandemonium happening. So that's all I have for now. and I will be back when I have an update. Hello friends, welcome back to this vlog. So I apologize for the weird transition that's going to be between the last clip that you saw and this clip, but things have changed a little bit and it's been a minute since I've worked on this vlog. So the last book I talked about was Starter Villain, and I gave it 5 stars. So the next book for this vlog that I will be reading is Great Expectations, I think it's called. Grave Expectations. So this is a mystery, like a comedy mystery, I think, by Alice Bell. I don't really know a lot. I did read the synopsis and it seems to be like a cozy mystery style book. So that is the next book that Leandra gave me. I did go ahead and spin the wheel off camera. I will spin next time on camera, but I'm going to start this. I have the audiobook and then I will come back when I have an update. Hello friends, welcome back to this vlog. So I just finished Grave Expectations by Alice Bell and I am giving it 5 stars. Absolutely loved this book. It was super fun and cozy. So I would call this a cozy mystery. I don't know if that's actually what it's categorized as. When I was looking at like the tags for it, it's categorized as like a fantasy mystery fantasy. I really did like this one. So there is LGBTQIA plus rep in this. There are 2 different characters that are LGBTQ. I think we don't know that one of them is until the end, but I thought that the way that was handled was done very well. I thought that the rest of the LGBTQIA plus stuff was done really well. So this is a book about a psychic woman who is invited to do a seance at an old woman's birthday party, and she ends up passing away the night before the party, and there's some talk about whether she was murdered. She ends up not being murdered, but she has our main character help her to solve a murder because she thinks that one of her family members is a murderer, just not a murderer of her. So that is what we're following. This was a super fun book. Absolutely loved it. It's a very Leandra coded book, so it made sense to me as to why she would love this book. There's no spice in it, but I am giving it 5 stars. We absolutely loved it. So I'm going to go ahead and spin for the next book for this vlog because we do have a few more books left for this vlog. So let me pull up my spinner wheel. Okay, so I only have 2 more books. Let me just make sure that this is correct. I may only have 2 more books. 2, 4, 6. Okay, yeah. So hold on. Okay. All right. So I don't know why Grave Expectations didn't get taken off. So okay, so I have 3 more books on this wheel that I need to read. One of them is technically like a bonus book. This was a book that Leandra gave to me originally when I was going to do her vlog, and then it's been over a year since she'd given me the books originally, so I let her switch them out. I'm letting everyone do that if they want to. And she switched all of them out, but I really wanted to read this last book, so I added it as a like bonus book. So technically Leandra has 6 books that I'm going to read instead of only 5, but yes. So we have 3 more books. So let's spin and see what book we're going to get. Okay, so the next book on our list is Small Favors. So this, I believe, is horror. It's fantasy, I know that, but I feel like this is a genre blend. So I'm going to go look it up in Libby because I'm going to need to get the audio for this anyhow. So Small Favors. All right, so this is by Aaron A. Craig. It is 14 hours long, and it looks like I'm gonna have to place a hold on this. So I'm gonna place a hold. It's saying 3 weeks. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to spin for a second book and I will start that one, but we will go over what Small Favors is about. So this is a fantasy romance. It is young adult and it is folklore fiction. So it says, Ellery Downing is waiting for something to happen. Life in isolated Amity Falls, surrounded by an impenetrable forest, has a predictable sameness. Her days are filled with tending to her family's beehives, chasing after her sisters, and dreaming of bigger things, while her twin Samuel is free to roam as he wishes. Early town settlers fought off monstrous creatures in the woods, and whispers that the creatures still exist keep the Downings and their neighbors from venturing too far. When some townsfolk go missing on a trip to fetch supplies, a heavy unease settles over the falls. Strange activities begin to plague the town, and as the seasons change, it's clear that something is terribly wrong. The creatures are real, and they're offering to fulfill the residents' deepest desires, however grand, for just a small favor. These seemingly trifling demands, however, hide sinister intentions. Soon, Ellery finds herself in a race against time to stop Amity Falls, her family, and the boy she loves from going up in flames. So, a fantasy romance. It seems to have monsters in it. I'm going to check Hoopla and see if they have it. If they have it, then we will start this one straight away. If they don't, we're going to spin for a second book, and then I will just read Small Favors whenever it comes available. But I don't really want to put this book, like this vlog, on hold to find it. So it does not look like, who is this by? Aaron A. Craig. Okay, it doesn't look like my Hoopla has it. Yeah. Yeah, my Hoopla doesn't have it. Okay, so we're gonna spin for a second book. There's only 2 left, and we're gonna just see what the spinner wheel gives me, and then as soon as Small Favors comes available, I will read that after I finished this one. Okay, so the Z Word. Let's go check the library for that one and see if that one is available. Okay, so the Z Word is available. So let me grab the audiobook for this. So I will read the Z Word and then I will switch over to Small Favors as soon as my hold comes up for that one. But this one is a fantasy, an LGBTQIA humor fantasy. Those are the tags that Libby gives it. So it says, packed with action, humor, sex, and big gay feelings, the Z Word is the queer Zombieland you didn't know you needed. Say less. I love Zombieland, so say less, okay? Chaotic bisexual Wendy is trying to find her place in the queer community of San Lazaro, Arizona after a bad breakup, which is particularly difficult because her ex is hooking up with some of her friends. And when the people around them start turning into violent, terrifying, mindless husks, that makes things harder, especially since the infection seems to be spreading. Now, Wendy and her friends and frenemies, drag queen Logan, Silver Fox Bo, sword lesbian Ariella, and her wife Sam, mysterious pizza delivery stoner Sunshine, and oh yeah, Wendy's ex-girlfriend Leah have to team up to stay alive, save Pride, and track the zombie outbreak to its shocking source, hopefully without killing each other first. So this is gay, and we thrive for that. So I'm going to go start this, and I will be back when I have an update. Hello friends. Okay, so I'm here to check in for this vlog. So I am 50% through the Z Word. I completely forgot to vlog this at the beginning, so I'm at 50%. I am listening to the audiobook for this one, and it's different than what I thought it was. I don't know if I just like didn't read the synopsis correctly or what. Ooh, sorry about that. I'm truly enjoying it, but it is different than what I thought. So basically we're following our main character as she's getting ready for Pride with her friends, and her girlfriend or her ex-girlfriend have just broken up, and she's kind of dealing with that, and they are all getting geared up for Pride. And in doing this, something devastating happens that causes a bunch of the people she knows that are involved in Pride to turn into zombies. So it's like a disease. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but so far it's been a fun time. I don't really know how to explain this book without you like reading it. So there's that. I'm gonna think on that and see if maybe I can come up with a better explanation, but I am really enjoying this. There's a good LGBTQ rep in this. There's a lot of talk about Pride being a riot and things like that, so I love that. There's a lot of discourse about police brutality when it comes to people who are minorities, so people who are not straight or not white, and we're loving that. So this is a really good choice that Leandra gave me. I'm actually not surprised at all that Leandra would love this book, because there is like a mystery, like sci-fi element to it, also with the LGBTQ rep in it. So I'm really loving this so far. Yeah, that's really all I have. I'm 50% through, so I will come back when I've actually finished the audiobook. I did grab the ebook as well, but I've mostly been listening to the audio, and it says I only have about 2 hours left, so I should finish it tonight or like early tomorrow morning. So whenever I finish it, I will come back, give you my thoughts, and we'll move forward from there. Hello friends, so I have finished the Z Word, so I am giving it 6 stars. I was sitting at a 5-star, and then I was like, you're gonna be thinking about this for forever. So I clearly did not remember what I read in the synopsis, because it definitely says that it's a queer zombie land that you didn't know you needed, and I will definitely say that that's how this book read. It was humorous, like there was a lot of humor in it, but it is definitely a horror book. So it takes place in Arizona. I don't know why I kept thinking it was California, but it takes place in Arizona, and essentially at Pride, all of these people, is Pride weekend, and all of the gays are turning into zombies for one reason or another. Okay, and I'll tell you the reason. There's like a large alcohol company that has put a compound into one of their drinks that is being toted out at Pride. So that is what's happening. Anyone who drinks this will become a zombie. So I really enjoyed this book. It is added to my list of books that I will purchase, because that's one of the things I'm allowed to do after I finish the books, is if they're books that I think I will revisit or that I just find to be new favorites, they'll go up on my shelf. So this was a 6-star book for me. Thank you, Leandra, for this book. That means that we do have to spin for our next one. I know that at one point I had spun like 2 or 3 times because like Small Favors was on hold and stuff like that. I don't remember which book I said, and I'm not gonna go back and watch the footage. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna spin for a new Leandra book, and I'm just going to put what are the ones that I still need to read? I'm just going to put the books back on here that need to be. So I read the Z Word. Okay, so I actually only have 2 more books to even pick from, I think, if I've done this correctly, because I did read. So Soulless was our first book that I read for this vlog, and then I did read Starter Villain, which I loved, and then I read Grave Expectations, and I've just finished the Z Word. So yeah, we've only got 2 more books for this vlog, which is awesome. Okay, so I have 2 more books for this vlog. Technically, one is a book that, both of these are books that Leandra gave me, but one of them is actually a book that Leandra gave me the first time she gave me books, and I decided that I was going to include it in this vlog because I still want to read it. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to spin. I have access to both of these books currently, so either one I will have audios for, and we'll be able to read. So let's go ahead and we will spin. Okay, so Small Favors is our book that we will be reading, and then the last one that I will be reading is Ink. So let's go in and I will read to you what each of these books are. Ink I have on Audible. You can listen to the audiobook for free if you have Audible Premium, which I do. So I do have that downloaded in my library. Let me find it. Ink. Let me find it. Ooh, I have Hopeless as an audiobook too. That's good because that's one of the ones that's on my thing this year or this month. Okay, so I'm going to read both synopses to you. Obviously, I'm going to be reading Small Favors first, which Small Favors is a horror book, I do believe. So I am going to actually look at that really quick first. I have that from the library. I was trying to think where I have that from, but I have it from Libby. So Small Favors was one that at one point I did start it, and then I actually started it last year when this vlog originally started, and then I ended up putting it down for a while for readathons and stuff, and it never got picked back up. So I am going to start it over, but I remember a little bit of what this book is about, but I'm just going to read the audiobook to you, or the audiobook, the synopsis to you. So this is marketed as young adult. This is a young adult fantasy romance folklore story. So let me read to you. It says, Ellery Downing is waiting for something to happen. Life in isolated Amity Falls, surrounded by an impenetrable forest, has a predictable sameness. Her days are filled with tending to her family's beehives, chasing after her sisters, and dreaming of bigger things, while her twin Samuel is free to roam as he wishes. Early town settlers fought off monstrous creatures in the woods, and whispers that the creatures still exist keep the Downings and their neighbors from venturing too far. When townsfolk go missing on a trip to fetch supplies, a heavy unease settles over the falls. Strange activities begin to plague the town, and as the seasons change, it's clear that something is terribly wrong. The creatures are real, and they're offering to fulfill the residents' deepest desires, however grand, for just a small favor. These seemingly trifling demands, however, hide sinister intentions. Soon, Ellery finds herself in a race against time to stop Amity Falls, her family, and the boy she loves from going up in flames. So this is also available as an ebook. I am going to borrow the ebook as well because I may choose to kind of jump between the two because I do have a book I'm currently reading on my Kindle, but we will kind of see how long it takes me to read this because here's a little sneak peek to behind the scenes. I am ordering a second Kindle about a week from when I'm filming this very clip, and when I do that, then there will be a Kindle that is dedicated to library and ARCs, so Libby books and ARCs, and then this which will be this Kindle will become my library and ARCs Kindle slash like my travel Kindle, because I will be getting a Kindle color, and that will become like my main Kindle, the one that I read my main books on, right? Okay, so that is what we're doing with that. So Small Favors, I have that both as an e-book and an audiobook, so that is going to be great. So I can pick that up on either device. And then the other one that I have is called Ink, A Love Story on 7th in Maine, and this is written by Elizabeth Hunter. Now the cover that I have for the audiobook looks different than the cover that I have originally saw when Leandra was reading it, because there is like a discreet like cartoon cover as well, but this is available on Kindle Unlimited, which is how I saw like the cartoon color. I'm hoping to love this book because I do really want to own it. I think the book is so cute, but I am able to read this for free on Kindle Unlimited with my subscription, so I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of that because we love being able to do that. So this says, it's everything but business as usual. Emmy Elliott hadn't expected to come back to Metlin, California. She definitely didn't expect to stay. She returned to her childhood home with a mission: sell the building that housed her grandmother's bookstore and move on with her life. But life doesn't always go according to plan. To reopen her grandmother's bookshop, Emmy will need a hook. She'll need a strategy. She'll need an ox. Miles Oxford doesn't have much interest in quiet bookstore owners. He's a tattoo artist without a space to work, and the last thing he wants is to get involved with anyone after his last disaster of a relationship. Work and pleasure don't mix for Ox, but since he doesn't have any interest in the cute girl with the bold business proposal, He should be safe from any awkward complications, right? She sells ink, he tattoos it. Unusual, yes, but a bookshop slash tattoo studio might be the ticket for both Emmy and Ox to find success on their own terms, as long as they keep their attention focused on business, just on business. It contains mature themes. So this is a business, comedy, contemporary romance, feel-good, heartfelt. So it's like a workplace romance. Super cute. So I just think that the premise of this book is so cute, so I had to include it in this vlog because I want to see if Leander and I agree on romance. And here's why. Because Leander does not read a lot of just romance, and this book is very much a romance book. Leandra is much more, when I think of Leandra, I think of sci-fi, I think of fantasy, I think of cozy mysteries in particular. She's like who I go to for like cozy recommendations, or for sci-fi recommendations, even for horror recommendations, but I don't go to Leandra for romance. And so when she gave me this, I guess it would maybe actually be 2 years ago now. I actually think she gave me her original list in 2023. This was one of the books that was on there, and I was like, how interesting, because Leandra is not a huge romance reader. So I would love to read this. And I will say that every book except for the sci-fi book that I can't think of what it's called, Starter Villain. Every book but Starter Villain had romance subplot to it. So there was some romantic something happening behind everything else that was happening. It was not a main plot in any of these books, but there has always been some romance aspect. So I wouldn't say that Leander reads books that have no romance, because that's not true. But she doesn't tend to read romance that is just strictly romance for romance sake. So I'm really excited to read these last two books. So I am going to go ahead, I'm actually going to start with Small Favors, I think, because that's what we got on the wheel. So I'm going to start with Small Favors, and then we will move on to Ink. So I will come and check in sometime tomorrow with Small Favors, because tomorrow, when I'm filming this, it's a Friday, so tomorrow is Saturday. Ari will be home all day, but hopefully I will be able to like do laundry and stuff and listen to an audiobook. It's pretty easy for me to do audios on the weekends because I can just wear one headphone. So I will start Small Favors in the morning, and then I will come and check in with you probably at the 50% mark, I'll be honest. But at least this time I remembered to vlog before I actually started. So that is what we're going to do. So I will see y'all in the morning. Hello friends. I'm here to finally close out this vlog. So let's talk really quick about Small Favors. I did finish Small Favors. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. I enjoyed this book. It felt a little bit slow in the beginning, but I understand why Leandra would love this book. So this book is kind of like a folklore-y, I don't really want to call it cozy, because I didn't feel like it was really cozy, but folklore-y, kind of horror-y fiction. It's kind of a weird, I don't really know like where to put the genre for this one. According to Storygraph, it is called a, let me just check Storygraph. They have classified it as a fantasy horror, like a dark fantasy horror. So I see how that is. It is horror, like it is fantasy as well, but it kind of has folklore elements to it. I really did enjoy this book. It was about a small town that is dealing with monsters. We have two twins who have siblings, so it's a boy and a girl set of twins, and they have two younger sisters. Their parents end up having to leave the town for an emergency, and in doing this they are left on their own to kind of fend for themselves and figure out how to stop the monsters in their town. There is a lot of like death and destruction in this book. And when I first started listening to it, I was a little bit confused by what was happening. Like I said, it kind of was slow, but also a little bit confusing. But by probably the 20% mark, I understood what was going on. I understood what we were following. There were a lot of twists and turns and mysterious elements to this book. So I am giving it 4.5 stars. So let's go over really quick the other books that I read for Leandra's project, and we'll go over which ones, like what I gave all of them. Now, I do know that I said that there was supposed to be a 5th book in this vlog. However, this vlog took me so long to do. It's my own fault that it took me, or a 6th book, I'm sorry. It's my own fault that it took me this long. It had nothing to do with Leandra. It had to do with a lot of behind the scenes life things that I'm not really talking about right now on the internet. But I ended up only reading the 5 books. The 6th book that is on this list, I will be reading at a later time because it is on Kindle Unlimited. So I will be reading that at some point. So I'm not going to tell you what that book is. When I get to that book eventually in the future, then we will talk about what that book is and that I was going to read it for this vlog. But I just didn't get to it, and technically it is not a... It is a book that Leandra gave me the first time that I asked her for books, but she subsequently changed all of them, including that one, and I added it as a bonus because I do want to read it, but we're not going to read it right now. So, Leandra gave me 5 books in total. The first one was Great Expectations, which I gave 5 stars. This is the, beginning, or the first book in the, Parasol... something. I will try to remember to put graphics up here. I can't promise you that's gonna happen, but I'll try to remember. This one is no longer on Kindle Unlimited as far as I'm aware. It was when I read it, and I did also buy the audiobook for it. I did like this book. I gave it 5 stars. I will be continuing this series. This was very historical fiction-y meets, it was historical fiction with magic. It gave me kind of, at least the main character in this one gave me kind of vampire Mary Poppins vibes. I really did enjoy this one. 5 stars. The next one that I have was Starter Villain. This is a sci-fi book that has very dry humor in it. I had a good time with this book from start to finish. I did read this one with my eyes. I think the audio is only available through Audible. So a lot of these, if I couldn't find the audiobook for them, I just read them. It was just a little bit easier that way. This one I also gave 5 stars. As I was reading it, at first I was a little confused as to why Leandra would like this book. Leandra, I hope she doesn't mind me saying this. I've said it before, but Leandra comes off as a very sweet person. She is a very sweet person, but she has very dry humor sometimes, and she can kind of throw shade when you least expect it, and that is what this book also did. So this was another 5-star book for me. The next one I have is The Z Word. This was an apocalyptic pride. I think that the tagline on the front said the first pride was a riot, the last pride was a bloodbath, I believe was what the tagline on the front of the book said. This one, I loved this book. I gave this one 6 stars. It is the only 6-star in the entire collection, but 5 stars is also really good, a really good rating for me. If you're new here and this is the first video you're ever seeing from me, a 6-star book is a top tier, god tier, immaculate book. 5 stars is anything that there might have been something in it that maybe didn't make it feel like a 6-star feeling. 6 stars for me are 5 stars for normal people. Most people that give a 5-star, it's a 5-star feeling, and for me that's what 6 stars are as well. The Z Word, I did listen to the audiobook for this one. I absolutely loved it. It's about pride, so I believe our main character is bisexual or pansexual, and then we had other characters throughout the book that were also part of the LGBTQIA community. So we had lesbians, we had gay men, we had non-binary. We just had a big diverse cast of characters, and I loved this one. Like I said, this was an apocalyptic gay book. I don't know how else to really describe it, to be honest. If you do not like gayness in your books, first of all, I'm not really sure why you're still on my channel. If you don't like gayness in your books, we love a good gay book on this channel. But you won't like this one. This one, at first I thought this was a pandemic story. It is not. There's like this drink that has something is wrong with this drink that all of these people, this spritzer I think it is, that all these people are drinking at Pride, and it causes people to turn into zombies. So very cool. I loved this book. The next one that I have is Soulless, which I'm about to look up what this one was, because I'll be honest and real, it's been a while since I read a few of these, and I feel like I know what this book is, but I can't think of it off of like, oh, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna go back really quick because I gave you the wrong description for Grave Expectations. Leandra was screaming at me, I think, through the screen, to be honest. I think she was screaming at me through the screen because I didn't read these actually in the order. I did not read these in the order that I was given them. I used a spinner wheel, so let's talk about that. Grave Expectations is not the Parasol book. That is Soulless. Grave Expectations, we're going back. Leandra, I know you were yelling this entire time. I just know it. And I'm not going to refilm. I'm going to be honest. This is me on sick brain. So, Grave Expectations is not, that's not the Parasol mystery. Okay. Grave Expectations was a cozy mystery that was about a woman who, she is helping, I believe, with a woman's party, like 80th birthday party or something, and that woman subsequently ends up passing away. And then there is another, so they have to figure out if this was foul play or if she died of old age because she's an older woman. And then subsequently there is another mystery that has to also be solved. This was by Alice Bell. I believe there is a second book in this series, but I will be continuing that series. So I know Leandra was yelling at me the entire time. Soulless, however, is the Parasol mystery book. This is the Alexia Terabati book. Yeah, a novel of vampires, werewolves, and parasols. So this is part of the, like I said, this is part of the Parasol series. Oh god. Parasol series. This one I really did like. Like I said, it gave me vampire Mary Poppins vibes. There is some like kissing and stuff in this book. Like it's not spicy, but there is a couple of like sex scenes in this book if I remember correctly. But I really did like that one. I did give that one 5 stars. And then the last one I've already talked about was Small Favors, and I gave it 4.5. So thank you to Leandra for giving me all these books. So sorry that I messed up with all of these, with 2 of the descriptions. I don't know. This is why I should write the descriptions down like next to the books. But there will be another one of these videos coming out very soon. The next one has actually already been started. I'm not going to tell you who it is because that would ruin the surprise, right? So that's what we're doing. And thank you so much for watching. It's been truly a pleasure to read some of Leandra's favorite books. And I will say this. I go to Leandra's channel for cozy mysteries because I feel like Leandra is the person who knows about them. And I will continue to do that. I will continue to do that. Now, do I get scared sometimes to pick up the books that she suggests? Yes, because they are out of my comfort zone. I'm not a huge cozy mystery kind of person. I like a good cozy like fantasy sometimes, but cozy mysteries, I don't really know what I'm doing. So thank you to Leandra for launching me out of my comfort zone and into some books that I think I will really enjoy. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.